Right, what's happening? This is a Big Baby from the Sit and Politic podcast. I'm here. I'm live, vibing. As you can see by the title, I just got finished watching the House of Dragons. I think it's not even called Game of Thrones at all. So technically, the title's wrong. I think that's something that we need to figure out during this episode right here. Is it called Game of Thrones House of Dragons, or is it just House of Dragons? The HBO app tells me just House of Dragons, no mention of Game of Thrones. But yeah, just a quick little, reaction, discuss the episode. This is something I might want to do every week. Might want to push the camera back from my face just a little bit so you guys can get the full effect. But yeah, just wanted to kick it with you guys, kind of talk about reactions. This week being the first episode, obviously, probably compared a lot to oh, I'm live right now. Thank you for letting me know, me. It's time to do this. Yeah, talk about probably compared a lot to the previous series, expectations and things like that. May have Deuce and Dreddy hop on here with me tonight. I'm not sure. But either way, like I said, I want to get you guys' content, kick it with a few of y'all, and talk about the show. So for me, as much like everybody in the world, how the original series had ended, really disappointing, shitty ending for me, from top to bottom. I mean, like I said, all the classic things that people took issue with, the selection of Bronn as the king was wild. Just leveling of King's Landing, so many things with how the original series had ended was a little off for me. Damn. Okay, big dog. Within the first 10 minutes, man. Within the first, never mind. You know what? Smoking cigars on your porch where nobody can even see your face, anyways. Okay.
It's the bad Deuce Wizard.
Creepy. Yeah, man. How you feeling?
Good. Just got done watching. I don't know what you call it, but I'm gonna call it Game of Thrones 2.
That's what
pretty good.
That's what I was talking about before you hopped on here. Was are we calling it Game of Thrones? Is it just called House of Dragons? I honestly don't know, but I think it is just called House of Dragons. But I'm gonna do the same thing. It's Game of Thrones semicolon House of Dragons for me.
Yeah, it's well, everything is definitely based off the Game of Thrones. You can just kind of tell.
Yeah. So yeah, honestly, it just seemed natural. I was kind of just talking about how I felt about how the series ended. The original series, the Game of Thrones series ended. Just this being the first episode. Every episode after this, I imagine will focus more on this
people dying
this season. Yeah, but I mean, how'd you feel about how the original series ended? Did you like it? Did you have take any issues with it? That last season,
I didn't like how they did my dog Jon Snow.
Made him a prisoner of war.
No, they basically just made him they made it to where he's just a pushover, just takes whatever everybody gives him. I mean, his character is just the most powerful character in all of the books, so it's kind of.
Well, he did kill the the dictator. You know what I mean? He had his moment where he killed his love.
TikTok has ruined a lot of that shit for me because all the spoilers. Like just watching this first episode, there's like maybe 5 or 6 things that I saw from following this little TikTok page about Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Where they're guy cutting himself. Yeah, stuff that happens from the book and stuff. And I peeped a couple things that it was speaking on. You know what I'm saying? And so it's pretty accurate to the book. It's just kind of crazy the way that they did Jon Snow in the first one. I thought that was bullshit. And they killed Daenerys, which was bullshit too.
Well, a lot of things.
She may not be dead actually. Just to
about that. All right, nice. One of the things for that I took issue with the final season was everything kind of felt microwaved. They did less episodes, but then to kind of compensate for that, if everything felt rushed. You know what I mean? A lot of the allure that Game of Thrones had, the original series had for me, was the plotting back and forth, those kind of conversations that do happen like from place to place. You know what I mean? I feel like it took all of that away. The little like plotting and shit like that. That was some of my favorite parts. Which, by the way, also with this first episode, I would say you get a lot of that groundwork being laid, but we really didn't see who's gonna stand out as, you know, the connivers. You know what I'm saying?
All I know is my favorite character is going to be Daemon Targaryen.
Yeah, I thought you might say that. Honestly, I did. I mean, well, I wanted to ask you who your favorite character was. For me,
he's a lot more honorable than I think they make him out to be. You know what I'm saying? Because just from what I watched, like, he was just like, I'm your brother. You know what I'm saying? And they were basically like, you know, fuck all that shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that he was going, you know, like the obvious direction. You have somebody who's a little bit more light-handed as a king. He's the antithesis of that. He's going to be super heavy-handed. Like, he is killing people, so wrong. But like you're kind of getting at, I think he's killing like murderers and rapists, supposedly, anyways. Excuse me. Hey, bless big baby. Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Bless you, big dog. I think it's kind of. I agree with you. I think, yeah, he is a little heavy-handed, but he seems like he does things for just causes.
The street. Huh? Come on, you don't think that's a little excessive when he cut the dude's dick off in the street?
Niggas out here trying to rape women, like, cut that dick off. You know what I'm saying? Cut that dick off, man.
No, cuz you throw him in,
cut the dick off, man.
And left him, and then he threw his dick on a wagon. Oh man, they were bugging.
He was bleeding out anyway.
It was interesting because I think they were just trying to show, like, look, it's an eye for an eye up in here. Because the one dude where they're like, that guy's a murderer. They're like, well, he's got to get his head cut off. I was like, oh. Yeah, damn.
Well, the thing is like, I mean, rightfully so though. If you have people that are living in fear, I mean, he's just trying to make the kingdom safer. Like, and he's right. Your capital should be the safest part of your kingdom. It shouldn't be your capital is ran like a fucking whorehouse. You know what I'm saying?
Meanwhile, he's visiting whorehouses every 5 minutes in the episode.
Well, brothels were a legitimate business back then.
I don't mean literal whorehouses; those are cool, right?
Like a brothel, like a brothel legalized by the king. Yeah, it's okay. But if you're like, you know, running your own, like, you know, prostitution ring on the street, like, you know, got hookers on corners and shit.
Well, but you didn't think that the justice was a little hasty? You know, they were just like, they were literally pointing them out. Like, I don't see where
I'm not surprised.
There were no trials taking place. It was just point him out, and then he's getting his arm cut off because he got called a thief. He's getting his leg cut off because he got called a runner, or whatever.
Yeah, no, I don't think. I'm not surprised. Like, I mean, this is the Targaryen. This is like, you know what I'm saying. This is not the Valerian family, or, you know, the Knights of the Vale. This is literally like, all right. You know what I mean? This is like the most sinister, cruel people, you know.
Well, they're conquerors like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they're known to do, is just go places, conquer shit. Which is definitely interesting. I mean, I think they definitely laid a lot of groundwork, Alex, from the very beginning. They laid the groundwork for the previous dispute for the throne, which I thought was cool. And you got to see that lady's character who's now married and all that. You got to see their kind of they're kind of vying for that option, because later on when they're talking about who should be named the heir, I don't remember the dude's name, but her husband basically is like, hey, I feel like my family should be considered. You know what I'm saying? Like, remember back?
Well, I could see where the conflict's going to come in.
Yeah.
The Valerian.
Yeah, go ahead.
Valerian knight. The Valerian knight is also like glued up with a Targaryen queen who had no claim to the throne. You know what I'm saying? But her son is gonna have claim. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be interesting, because she, like, that little girl, the princess, is not gonna be battling with her cousin for power.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Well, she's gonna be, and her uncle, Damon, whatever. So he's gonna obviously.
He's actually. I don't know if I want to spoil it.
Okay. But, yeah. Well, definitely don't spoil anything. You know what I mean? Like, you already know whatever.
Supposedly, this is supposedly. I don't know if this is true. Obviously, this is TikTok. But he's supposed to be in love with her.
Well, yeah, I think that was obvious when he was putting the necklace on her, and he was like doing
it. Was a little weird, right? It was a little weird. It was like, oh, hold on.
A little creepy, but I mean, it seemed for the most part.
She turned around, and she turned right around. I was like,
her necklace off. She knew what it was. So yeah, no, they definitely done that before. I feel like he's given her many gifts. So I feel you, but I think that's going to be part of the conflict. I still think that he's like I think he's gonna have to battle with that. But I don't know. I mean, honestly, I'm not familiar with this book, so it's like I don't know where it's gonna go. I am happy about that. I was a little hesitant to begin with, as far as like I was worried that since we were going backwards, this was a prequel, that we were going to end up seeing a bunch of shit that we had already known where it was going to go, characters we already knew, their fates, and so on and so forth. So
everything's different.
I was happy that they went far enough back. They went like 170 years before the events of the original Game of Thrones. So things are definitely different, and there's enough space where it's like, only thing that we really know from people that just watched the original series is that the Targaryens definitely fuck it up somehow, and at some point they go to war with the Baratheons and all that.
Which would go to war with themselves first.
Well, but we know original.
This is before the Mad King, isn't it, or this is after?
This is before. So
we know when it gets fucked up.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. But we're not like super close to that though. You know what I'm saying?
So like, you think they're gonna fit in the 170 years for all these seasons?
170 years might be like this whole prequel type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then we'll get to like probably the Mad King type. That'll probably be like the last season. We might see what happens with the Mad King or something like that.
I wonder who they're gonna cast as that character.
Well, they already had a person that played him, but I mean, they might recast it if it's a bigger role. But
like Johnny Depp.
How do you the Mad King? Yeah, I like that. Fucking the Mad Hatter as the Mad King.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah,
he would rock that shit out though. He would rock that shit out. You know that.
Yeah, no,
he would kill that shit.
All right, no, that's horrible casting. Horrible casting. Terrible. Horrible idea.
He would kill that shit, bro. Johnny Depp would smash that role.
Hire some hillbilly from fucking Kentucky to play the Mad King? No. Okay, I'm not doing that.
Johnny Depp is a hillbilly from Kentucky? My goodness.
Well, hillbilly from Kentucky that abused drugs for the last like 40 years, so I'll give him that. That's the only variance. You know what I mean? If he ain't moved and act in movies and abused a bunch of drugs, then he would
slur his words just like the Mad King, drunk as fuck all the time. Be perfect.
Yeah, I definitely
say. Got a temper. Don't give him his bag. Don't give him his bag for the day. He'll kill that shit.
True. No, there you go. Okay. Well, fair. He definitely has been driven mad. Yeah, I mean, so what do you think about the Hand of the King? Otto, what was his name? Highgarde or some shit like that. Yeah, but how'd you feel about him? I was wondering, definitely plotting. It's not clear if he's plotting like completely from like a selfish standpoint, or if he does have like kind of the best interest of the realm or the kingdom at heart, because the Daemon dude is wilding, you know what I mean? Like, he is definitely wilding, but he did remember he pimped out his daughter in the episode. He's like, yeah, go talk to the king, you know what I mean? Like, he needs your comfort.
Yeah, he did pimp her out, but she didn't know what to do.
Well, yeah, she just went up there and talked, thank God. But I mean, yeah, I guess that's kind of how it goes. Like, he sees an opportunity. I guess that's what that should. Yeah, I guess that gives me my answer. That kind of interaction with his daughter reveals that he does have, like a selfish kind of agenda. You know what I mean? Why send your daughter up there if you're only interested in like what's best for the kingdom type shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a little weird.
It's a little weird, but I think it's more telling than at least what I had given that situation credit for. I was just like, okay, like I said, weird as fuck, whatever. But I think it gives you some insight into the character's motivations going forward, because I think that was up in the air. Like, is this guy an asshole? But he's saying what needs to be said for what's best for the realm. Like, he's telling the king, like Viserys, he's like, yo, Daemon is like crazy. He can't, and I mean, you would agree with that, right? He can't be king. He might be a cool character you could like, but he can't be king. That would be crazy.
He should be king.
You're insane. That makes no sense. Yeah, that's how you get the fucking Mad King. Probably is his jit, to be honest with you. At the end of the day, that's what we're going to end up finding out.
People are forgetting when Daemon was. People are forgetting how young he is. He's young. You know what I'm saying? He's a young warrior. You didn't train him how to be a politician.
Here to be real.
He's the war.
Hold on, time out. No, because they even said in the episode, so I want to make sure to mention the one lady, the one that's never been queen or whatever the fuck they called her. She said when they remember at the poll shit, they were saying that none of these knights had ever seen war, and that was the thing because they had no wartime. So they're all undisciplined and just wilding out. They're at the fucking pool thingy with the fucking horses. Bro, we need to go to medieval times class or something before we start talking about this shit, to be honest. What is that called? And you're not gonna save me. You're just gonna sit here and like,
what is it? What did you say? The pool thing?
Bro, come on, man. Where they're on the horses and they got the thingy that's like the stick.
Oh, the joust.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. You knew the entire time?
Yeah.
Oh, you're killing me, bro.
I thought you said pool.
Doing the show on my own. Oh, did they at any point play medieval pool and like shoot the 8-ball into the pocket? Come on, son. What are we
talking about? Like a pool, like
you're
like
a
brothel scene. I thought you were talking about like went in the water and shit.
Oh, bro, when they were doing. Okay, so look. All right. Damn.
So yeah, I was talking about some shit though. I was talking about some shit. I was thinking about some other shit.
Well, no. One thing I just before I forget this shit, bro. When they're damn, okay, never mind, I'll get to it later. I don't want to get out of order too bad. But yeah, when they were doing the jousting thing, all the knights like got in like a straight up brawl, like to the point where knights were killing each other out of pocket, which I think that also highlighted what your boy was saying, Damon was saying about Viserys, where he's like, you're weak. Like that is crazy shit. Like in the old series, they did have some crazy stuff happen with like Clegane, the Hound, right? Or no, the Mountain actually. He cut his horse's head off, and then him and the Mountain like kind of had a little fight there or whatever. But these dudes, it was literally like a bar fight in the middle of this like ceremony for this guy's for the king's son being born. It really did prove like how little control he had over the situation. You know what I'm saying? Kind of how much authority that he commands and like how much respect he gets from his people.
That's right. As soon as he left, they broke out the fight.
Going wild, yeah. And then nobody stood up either. The one people just said like, "Oh yeah, this probably shouldn't be happening, right?" This shit was crazy. And then yeah, we can get to the next scene too. Kind of while this is happening, the queen is giving birth to the new heir, which does end up being a boy. The whole episode we're kind of going back and forth. The king's like, I know it's a boy, I know it's a boy. You see how his eldest daughter feels about that. Once again, that situation was kind of foreshadowed with the previous situation that happened between the female that had the right to the throne and the male that got chosen based off of just his male status. So yeah, we're kind of digging back into that. During the complications of childbirth, the King Viserys, he gets kind of hit with ultimatum like, okay, so it's the baby who we could save. And honestly, they don't even mention the option of saving the mom. Do you remember that? Did they?
No, they didn't mention. There was no option to save her.
There was no option. That wasn't on the table. So it was like
they were going to lose her regardless.
Yeah, so he obviously decides, okay, well, let's save the baby. And with that, they're going to perform some kind of medieval C-section. And if you remember from, once again, the old series, you know, these maesters, to a certain extent, they do get a little experimental from time to time. And they're like, sometimes they just see it as like an opportunity. You feel me? They're like, oh, yeah, I read about this. Like, this is a perfect chance to try it. Like, oh, you've never done this shit before? No, I don't think he did.
Well, they did save the baby, but they forgot that the baby has to feel the mother's heartbeat for like the first few moments of birth.
Okay, so can you give me 1 second because I want to hear what you're.
I'm just bullshitting. I'm just talking shit.
You're fucking my head up right now. So the part that we're skipping is he goes back over to the bed, and they didn't even like the mom was not a part of the decision that was being made. So he goes and basically is like, hey, I love you. You're doing great. Next thing you know, everybody's coming around the bed. They're sharpening the tools. She's like, hold up, what's going on? He's like, yes, you're going to have to die for this baby right now. And then they proceed to basically murder her. Honestly, that's what that is. She had no choice. So they killed her and took that baby out, and the baby dies as well, which that was wild. How'd you feel about that?
I mean, I think that's when he cursed the family. So that act right there, cursed the family.
Oh, making that decision.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, from there on, I mean, you and to kind of your point, from that point on, we do see the groundwork being laid for what's going to end up being a civil war, if you will, for the claim to the throne, because after that is when the king is hit with the.
I think she's of Valerian bloodline.
Okay, who?
The queen.
The queen.
I think that's what it is. It's like that's the family tree, like the Targaryen and the Valerians.
Well, so the Targaryens all come from Valeria. So they're all Valerian, and like Valerian steel and shit like that comes from that like region of the world that they're from. So she definitely is, but she's the king's daughter. So it's like he went ahead and he named her the heir after Daemon is the one that has that title, who is his brother, and this is after his council also suggests that he does this. And also Daemon has been not attending these meetings, but eavesdropping them. So he's been picking up on some of their opinions on them from afar. How do you think that's going to play in? So you don't think that it's going to end up going into a war that's going to involve him? It'll be other people, you're saying?
Yeah, I don't think it'll involve him because he's in love. So I think he tried to manipulate the situation and get her to fall in love with him, right?
Yeah.
And then he knows, like, when she's older, like, he'll be able to have that. But then he ends up falling in love with her, like, on the back end, like, inadvertently.
I see. So you think that he's not going to challenge the
her authority, but he's going to see that she has a lot of threats around her. You know what I mean? That she's not going to be truly prepared for it. And he knows her dad's weak. So it's like, I feel like he has true, like, he in a sense has a true just cause for doing what he's doing.
Intentions.
Yeah, his intentions are pure in a sense. Like, of course, he's a man. He's, in this time, he's gonna have, like, of course, he's gonna want to be king or whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, like, he just wants to see his family thrive, and then the kingdom thrive, So I think that's the sense that you got from him from the first show,
Yeah.
He's definitely going to be a problem moving forward, though, because we saw him with his fucking dragon at the end, and that motherfucker looked like a demon.
Bro, he literally, because he's not the prince anymore, he had to bring his like prostitute, like hoe over there, his like side chick, like to impress her. He couldn't just say, like, he couldn't lean on, I'm the heir anymore. So he'd be like, okay, well, now I got to show her the dragon. You know what I mean?
We're going to take off.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Dragon, say Dracarys one time, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's me. I'm still him. Even though they said different. Now hop on the dragon so we can go see my wife.
Yeah, we're gonna go. You're gonna be my housemaid.
Yeah, well,
and my wife doesn't stay in the same building as me, so it don't matter anyway.
Yeah. So do you think he's gonna actually go back to his, like, where he ruled? I don't remember where they said that was.
Yeah, I think so. No, I think he doesn't. I don't think he goes back. I think he just
stays.
I don't think he stays. I think he just goes somewhere else. Like, and he was supposed to go, like, and he just, like, disappears for a few years or some shit like that.
Gotcha. Okay, well, it's gonna be interesting. Try to stay away from spoilers, man. So every week we can unravel this thing together. But definitely educate yourself, brother, so we can come in here and do our thing.
I think it's gonna be a very interesting show. I mean, they set up some very interesting storylines. I'm excited, man. It's pretty good. I have to wait for episodes every week, but
yeah, it'll be cool though. Like, into the swing of it, bro. This will be something we'll be excited to do. As far as, like, we got to talk about this shit. Because I mean, right now these are characters we just are starting. Like, I really think the King's Hand. I think that's going to be an interesting, because remember, his son is a badass. His son actually was beating Daemon, and then Daemon ended up cheating and fucking tripping his horse.
He fucked him up. He fucked his face up.
Well,
so, like, he won't even ever get courted. Like, no woman won't want to court him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's why he become a demon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he'll be a little mongrel in the shadows.
And who was the dude that ended up winning the whole thing? Because Daemon ended up losing, and Homeboy made him yield.
He was a Dorne, man.
Dorne made him yield like a little pussy.
He's a Prince of Dorne.
Got you, Prince of Dorne. So this is way back.
She falls in love with him, but so she has a secret thing with him. You know what I'm saying?
Who falls in love with?
The princess, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, she's just in love with that, because I also felt like she was kind of into her, like, best friend, right? They had a thing. Or am I bugging?
Who, the girl?
The two girls.
I mean, I think maybe.
Oh, I'm asking your opinion.
Mm, oh, maybe the the princess likes a little bit of both. She likes to double dip. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so far we've like her. She likes to possibly double dip with her uncle. She's double dipping in Dorne. She's double dipping with the Handmaid's Tale next to her. Like it's going crazy right now. But whatever.
I think with her, I don't think she has a thing with her best friend because I think with her, she has a thing with power, right? Like she's like her daughter or her granddaughter, which would be Daenerys. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Daenerys didn't really submit to just many men. Like she submitted to like some of the most worthless killers in the kingdom, like Jon Snow, like
Yeah.
the man who was resurrected from the dead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just not. And then she found out later on it happened to be her bloodline. You know, but it's just kind of crazy because this girl has the same similar thing where she just doesn't look at any guy. She looks like the Prince of Dorne who won the battle. You know,
Yeah.
against her uncle. You know what I mean? And then the other one is her uncle, who's supposed to be the most badass fighter in the whole kingdom. So it's just interesting.
Yeah. It will be interesting to see who. Because honestly, I don't know who she ends up landing with or who ends up becoming her or if she even has a partner whenever she ascends to the queen. I think that's also one more thing before we move on.
I don't think she will.
You don't think she'll become queen?
I don't think she will have a partner to become queen.
Oh, she'll just
she can't because then she'll lose her power.
Got you. Well, I mean, I don't know about that because I'd say like Cersei had a lot of power when she was queen. Like you just won't have the same power. You won't have unchecked power.
In a sense, I mean, because it depends. I mean, the court may demand her to have like a spouse or may not. You know, because just for air purposes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that might be an interesting storyline. Now that you mentioned that, like her being hesitant to do that, but then the court pushing that for those reasons. That's a good point. I didn't think of that. I didn't think about just like naturally, obviously, like everybody tries to find a partner to reproduce us like human beings just do that. So that's how I was thinking. But you're right. Like as far as like the external pressures, that could be an interesting storyline for them and like who they're going to be with. And I suspect that her father won't be around for much longer, in my opinion, because there was a scene here where he was like sitting on the Iron Throne and he like was the part where he was bleeding and it looked like there was like a little piece of some shit sticking out that stabbed him. Like I suspect that might be something that's poisoned or something along those lines where we might end up losing him definitely this season based off of a poisoning or something like that. I'm guessing
Daemon poisoned the Iron Throne.
Huh?
Daemon poisoned the Iron Throne.
What are you talking about by that?
No, it's he didn't poison it. So that's the thing that I saw that I was.
Are you spoiling now? Are you just
no? He didn't spoil. He didn't poison it. Like it's like some people speculate that he did. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm saying some like she may speculate that he did because she saw him sitting in a what I'm saying or whatever. But what it is like he gets all these cuts from sitting in the Iron Throne, right? And those cuts end up getting infected and shit. And I think that's like supposedly what may cause him to like obviously pass pretty soon because he already had the one on his back.
I don't even remember. Was that a thing at the beginning of the episode or something?
It was like I think it was like in the beginning, towards the beginning, and he was like had his shirt off, and they were like, "Oh, should we cauterize it?" Because the leeches didn't work.
Yeah, I think I missed that part. Dang. Okay, so I appreciate you bringing that up. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think that so it might not even be a situation poison, just the lack of like modern medicine, which is
like treating it like he gets cut and he doesn't clean the wound or anything, and he waits for it to get infected.
You know what I mean? They're just like, oh, give them the fucking milk of the poppy. Like, there's no fucking penicillin.
Milk of the poppy.
Yeah, they were nuts for that. Like, just fucking give them a loading dose of heroin. They'll work through it. But yeah, I mean, anything else to go over before we hop off here? I mean, any other highlights you want to just touch on, and we can slide, man.
I mean, I don't know. It's just gonna be a good show. I'm interested to see how it all plays out.
Yeah.
Dragon is supposed to be one of the most craziest dragons, so we'll see.
Yeah. No, definitely it's cool to see the dragons. I mean, they're still big. I know, like in the old series, that's something that Daenerys had. Well, excuse me. I think it was actually Arya. Excuse me. When they were in the tunnels of King's Landing, they did a little story time exposition about old dragons and stuff, and they were saying that they were like as small as a house cat before they went quote unquote extinct, and then obviously you had Daenerys's dragons. I mean, yeah, it'll be interesting to see, man. Like a civil war between like Targaryen clans, basically. That'll be really cool. And they mentioned Blackwater a few times. When I read, because I only read the first book, and I was pretty big into the lore though during the first series, so I can't recall exactly right now. I'll try to refresh my memory before we do this again next Sunday. But I know that there's a different clan of Targaryens. There's like a red dragon, which is the true Targaryens. And then you have a black dragon set of Targaryens, and they go by something else. And I wanted to say Blackwater, but it's something else. So they might get into that. And I thought it was cool because they did touch on the fact that Baratheons are actually a offshoot of Targaryens again. That's why Stannis and Robert Baratheon felt like they had the right to the throne, because that's like basically like a splinter group of the Targaryens after the families marry and stuff like that. But so I think just all the groundwork and just the universe is already so rich, what they already built with the old series. So I think they have a lot to go off of. The production quality on this was nuts. Like just for like a TV show, it's like a movie every episode. Well, I mean, this is only the first one, but I mean, even with Game of Thrones, it was like a movie every episode. So it is an event. So I'm excited to keep on doing this with you, brother. Every Sunday, you guys should be able to see me and Deuce just chop it up for 30 minutes to an hour, depending each episode, and just give you guys our opinion on it. Definitely check us out every Tuesday. We drop our videos. We just did a live for the UFC too, so live events. We like to do that and do some live commentary. NFL season coming up, so you can expect us to do some like maybe Monday night football, some Sunday night football, some shit like that. We're just gonna keep on bringing you content, man. So definitely subscribe so you can see what we got going on. Like it, share it, keep us growing. It makes a huge difference when y'all share it on social media or share it with even just a family member. Is a huge win for us. So just please keep on doing that. Keep us growing. That makes a huge difference for us, man, so we can get this good content to more people. Deuce Andretti, brother, you got anything you want to shout?
Just just keep checking us out. We'll be doing this. We'll be getting in. Check out House of the Dragon. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna work out, man. Sounds like it's gonna be some interesting stuff to talk about here. Sounds like a lot of people are gonna die.
Yeah, it's gonna be
a lot of people are gonna die.
It's gonna be bloody. There's gonna be a lot of sex going on.
Evidently, they're not even holding back from the sex scenes.
Definitely not holding back from the sex. We're just not gonna talk about the age of any of the people involved. That's the weird thing with these old fucking shows. You have the dude telling his daughter to go up there. I'm like, when you're reading the books, they'll tell you like, oh yeah, Daenerys is like 14 years old or like 13 years old. So when the shit happens to her, you're like, this is so fucked up. So you have like the gravity of it really on the show. They'll just be like, let's just not even talk about it. Let's just have the shit happen. Which I feel them on that, because it would be really weird to see that play out. But yeah, the reality with Daenerys is like she was getting fucking raped and just abused since she was fucking a child. But either way, that's honestly horrible in reality, but it's interesting when you get to delve into those kind of like dark themes with characters and stuff like that. And Game of Thrones doesn't shy away from that. They could have a character who's going to cut people's dicks off and arms off in the middle of Times Square, and they could be complicated enough where they could also be an interesting and like have some good qualities as a character. So to what Deuce was saying, so I'm interested to see where it all goes. Keep up the complex nature of life and art, all that shit. So thank y'all for joining us. See y'all next week. See y'all Tuesday. See y'all every day around 6 p.m. when we drop those little videos. But check out the podcast on at 6 p.m. Every Tuesday. And appreciate y'all for checking in with us now. Much love.